when I think about the executive order, American superiority in space, I don't know how we can achieve superiority if we come in second place. So I will tell you that I don't think we were on a path to achieve our goals until recently. The incredible Artemis II mission that we all witnessed launch is an extremely complicated vehicle, right? I mean, you have at least five prime contractors, hundreds of subcontractors that go into it. Very complicated, 8.8 million pounds of thrust to accelerate those astronauts in a position to go around the moon, set the amazing record that they did. You can't launch that rocket every 3.5 years. So last time it flew uncrewed November of 2022. Obviously, we just flew it again rather recently, and up until recently, we wouldn't fly it again until the end of 2028, and that's not a recipe for success. So we obviously launched this mission. We gathered a ton of great data. The ecosystems, the life support systems on the vehicle was the first time that we've ever tested that. Obviously, the first time you've even had human beings on top of this rocket or in the spacecraft. Gathered lots of good data, but we're rolling that into another mission, and that's the big change here. We need to get into a good cadence of this. We need to establish muscle memory. We'll launch again Artemis III in 2027, start to buy down risk by rendezvousing the Orion spacecraft with one or both lunar landers, and I'm gaining confidence by the day that it'll be both, and test out the interoperability of the vehicles, again, gather good data, roll that into Artemis IV, so we have an achievable path to the surface of the moon by 2028. And then the executive order didn't say to go back and do the boot prints and the rocks again, but go back to stay and realize the scientific and economic and even national security potential of being on the surface. And I emphasize being on the surface, not orbiting above it, right? So we pivoted and said we want to be on the moon. We want to have a moon base. That was directly called out in the President's National Space Policy, and we're already taking steps, as I mentioned in my remarks, towards achieving it. So, and I think people are going to be able to follow along. Early 2027, we're going to start our first robotic landings to it. So, and then I'd say the last component in it, which Director Kratsios pointed out this morning with the clarity of nuclear power and propulsion policy in space is essential, because we want to ensure superiority even beyond the moon when we get to Mars someday. And I will say the technology will be available to us in the not too distant future. Almost assuredly, when you see astronauts set foot on the moon again, American astronauts on the moon again, you'll know you'll have the ability to send mass and probably the habitability capabilities to get the astronauts to Mars. How do we bring them back safely to tell us about that extraordinary vision or that extraordinary journey? And you're going to need nuclear power and propulsion to be able to do that. And what a better proving ground than on the surface of the moon to test it all out. So I think we're taking Artemis II, great opening act in America's return to the moon, and we're taking a lot of positive steps towards achieving the President's vision.